one sentence thing that we should all take away?
That collaboration will be the way to overcome the big topics.
I think there's a consensus that the way to bring people into the industry is to have tangible accreditation.
Just really that we're all responsible.
There should be a package, I think, through the KBSA to all the SMEs about what apprenticeships, how they get apprenticeships, how funding works. There is a positive, anyone up to 25 now is funded, but how does someone access that? There could be a package of SMEs, how you do it, how you go and hunt these through, maybe through your local schools and colleges, and to make it sexy for people coming into the industry because they don't know anything about it.
The red tape element, creating a framework that people operate in, is a great opportunity to actually market what we do. So making sure we focus on that being a marketing opportunity to expose people to the opportunity in our industry. And I think, someone mentioned the focus group and maybe the consumer, but I think what would be really valuable is sitting down people who are demonstrating best practice in apprenticeships and across our industry, so that it's not just focused on the installer, it's not focused on design, it's also talking about supply chain and manufacturing and everything else. So then you do start to get the playbook of what success could be looking like and how you market that to people.
I think deep commitment from a room, that when this doesn't finish and we walk out, we just don't forget about it and we go back to just doing what we do for ourselves rather than a collective of a community. And also the realisation that this process will be deeply painful and it will take a long time and there's no instant fix to it.
I suppose just like an education on a framework of what our industry is. I think we're all, whether we've fallen into it or been in it forever, we've got a conception that everyone knows what our industry is. It's making sure the rest of the world knows what our industry is.
Yeah, I'm with Laura. I think we need to develop a coherent narrative on the kitchen industry, that if once we've got it, we can take that to government, we can take that to educators, we can take that to the media. We all have a view, and I don't think there's been anything that's sort of wildly opposed or opposing views today. So there is a consensus here, but we have to be able to tell people what we are as an industry, what we're worth to the UK.
I think what we need to be better at as an organisation is becoming the glue of pulling all of that together and making sure that everybody is aware of it. Schools engagement, doing it, information on apprenticeships and how to access funding, done. All of that work is done. A fitted interiors apprenticeship that is fit for purpose, that industry made, done, check, all done. But we're sitting around the table and half of us don't even know that it exists. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, look, someone said it before, but accreditation, just a governing body who is regulating the industry. I mean, we've got things like REBA in the architectural world. It's like we have not got a governing body like that. And I think to a certain degree, we've talked a lot about the labour and the installation side of things, but, forward thinking, one of our biggest pain points is finding the next generation of designers as well. When I started in the industry all those years ago, we were planners. We were putting boxes on walls. It was very simple. These days, it's not like that. To interior architecture, these cantilevers, we need to be structural engineers in some ways. It's we need to get it right. So something that's going to pull the whole thing together, regulate it, and just close the ecosystem as well, because that then feeds into that recruitment of the next generation.
I think for me, it's the simplicity of communication. I think there's so much knowledge that we already have that we don't share, or the right people aren't talking to the right people. The product designers aren't speaking to the installers, the sales reps asking us what are the customers wanting, or are they just coming in and are they just selling to us? I think communication can be very simple when we ask the right questions, and
it's being heard.
It's being heard, and it's taking the time to ask the right questions. I think sometimes we just communicate on LinkedIn or email, and actually the best conversations and the ideas that I have are when actually you sit down and talk.
Yeah, for me, you need to make the industry highly attractive, but most importantly, the careers within it. And I don't think it's widely understood out there what the progression routes are. And unless you're going into schools and selling progression and a real career, not just a job for now, installing and playing with this, but where am I going to be in 10, 20, 30 years? When can I
The big
play?
house bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where's the big house? Where's the profile? And don't keep banging on about being an installer. Why aren't you calling these people installation engineers? You know, you've got your titles of your apprenticeship programs wrong, in my view. They're not linked to progression routes, and that needs to be corrected. So, for God's sake, raise the profile. You're dealing with a big nationalised product called an apprenticeship. You have no input around the rules for that apprenticeship because government are funding it and they decide how that's going to happen. But why don't you be smart, use your parliamentary group that I think some of you, or certainly your colleagues, actually sit on, and use it as a lobbying opportunity to say, look, when government reforms apprenticeships, they just tinker around over here with the assessment process. That does nothing, or very little. Why don't you lobby them to change the mechanism and the means by which you employers, and particularly SMEs, can actually get to use the product properly? Because at the moment you have to go through a lot of bureaucracy. You've talked about funding, you've talked about training providers. You know, the lobbying can fix that if you're brave enough. Why don't you say what you want? You want a programme that you can deliver yourselves. Why are you faffing around, moaning about a programme which isn't fit for purpose? Get and change it. Because government actually say they want apprenticeships to work for employers. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. And my final point really is around the importance of soft skills, Michael. You must incorporate into your apprenticeships much more emphasis on soft skills, because if you've got people who can communicate, are articulate, don't grunt like a 16-year-old, but can actually talk to customers and be useful as part of a team, that's worth very, very much more for the future.
A lot of things we've got to deal with, which is why you do need to collaborate. So thanks for your commitment to doing that.